Hello, hello, hello. What's up, everybody? What's up? Welcome to Late-Night LOKA podcast with your boy Manuk Gregorian. How you guys doing? Welcome to episode 20th. Before we get to our show, I have a couple of quick announcements. Special shout outs to Bad Moms Media. Love you, girl. You're the best. If you're not following, please follow Bad Moms Media. She's the hottest topic ever. Antelope Valley Parents for Advocates. I love you guys. Jess, you're my girl. What's up, Jessica? Street credit special to Jessica. Red Angeles. If you're not subscribing to Red Angeles, please follow, subscribe, share. We need your help. We need your support. We need to have as many people as following as possible. We need to spread our word far and wide, okay, you guys? Special shout out to San Fernando Valley Alliance for Family Values and Bushido Tribe. What's up, guys? Alicia, I haven't forgot. I'm going to call you this weekend, okay, for your job because I know you need some help. And Bushido Tribe, Oscar, what's up, bro? Thank you. If you need any prints or anything, hit up my boy Oscar with San Fernando Family Value Alliance and Bushido Tribe. He does prints and everything, okay? I have a couple of announcements. On October 23rd, we're going to have a candle vigilant for 325 missing children, okay? Please, if you don't know, please make a schedule. It's going to be in Pasadena from 7 to 9. We're going to have a candle vigilant. It's happening all across California, United States, different parts of the country, different parts of the state. So please join us. I'm going to be in Pasadena October 23rd from 7 to 9. Please join us, okay? Without further ado, we have a very special guest from Florida, actually. She was supposed to be on our show last week. She couldn't make it because of the hurricane was coming, and, my girl had to take cover. So without any further ado, let's introduce our guest. She's going to be on Zoom. So is the Zoom on? Yes, it is. So let's introduce MaryCate. MaryCate, welcome to our show. How you doing? How are you?
Hi, Nick. I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for taking this time. You are 3 hours ahead of us. I know it's midnight over there.
It's late here. Yeah, it is Late-Night LOKA for sure.
That's right. And I see you made it out just fine. I was looking at the news. We all were, especially after what happened in North Carolina. We were all hoping because once it hit the land and it went down from her category 5 to category 2, I was like, thank you, dear Lord, because at the end of the day, it's the American lives that matter to me, so, and we saw what happened to North Carolina, right? Georgia, Savannah, Pennsylvania, all those people, and until today,
Still dealing with power outages and things like that, yeah.
And the media is not covering it. That's so sad. That's the most ridiculous part of all this, because just not long ago, about a year ago, around this time, we had the Maui fires, right?
Right.
Nobody's talking about how they're recovering, what's happening to the locals. The whole community, the whole island was on fire, and nobody said a word, and this is what I want to accomplish with this podcast that I'm doing, is to bring awareness, to contact and have interviews with just regular people, like everyday average people, and have their ideas and their thoughts and their perspectives of things, So this is very important for me and this podcast and our movement, because we are grassroots. No one's here to save us, I want to talk about, since we're having the candle vigilant, right? I want to talk a little bit about the war on children. We have a lot of children missing. We got children being trafficked. We got children crossing the border without any documentation. And worst of all, they're bringing a lot of indoctrination and grooming and all this stuff to our schools, to our kindergarten and elementaries. So the war on children is not only child trafficking or missing children, which is the worst. It's also indoctrinating your children in schools where it's the new thing, And if you're not following it, then you're in trouble. You're going to get in trouble. You're going to be called out. So what are your thoughts about all this that's happening, and the media is not putting out there?
Yeah. Well, and what's funny is if you had asked me, a few years ago about the fake news stuff, I would have rolled my eyes and, probably, tuned out a little bit. But 100%, and I feel like we see it again and again, where these very important stories are not getting the coverage, they're not getting the attention because they don't fit the agenda for, either the politicians in charge or, kind of the direction that they would like the culture or the laws to go. The train fire up in Ohio, that was a big one where I noticed, how are we just not talking about this anymore? But, we see a lot of it with the news, with the children, absolutely, and people will say, oh, that's not happening. And then you show them evidence of it happening. And then they say, oh, well, it's only rare cases. And they just excuse it over and over again.
I agree with you. And the media, and thank God for independent journalists, such as I always make a mention of this, the 180 shift and Informed with Anthony. What's up, my boy Anthony? Shout out to you. These are independent journalists who are grassroots, who are always in the middle of all the chaos that's happening in California. And without these people, none of the real reality, none of the truth will come out. Well, these are the people who are actually putting us on the map and bringing the truth and the reality and what's happening to the public. And one of my mission is, regardless if I'm very educated on the topics that I'm talking about, or if I have enough information or not, I'm also a person who has my own point of views and my own thoughts and my own feelings, right? And I'm entitled to share my opinion, regardless if I'm a professor or not. I have my own comments on topics, and so does a lot of other regular folks, you don't have to be on this podcast and be a special professor or something no, we're not looking for that. We're looking regular people who have regular jobs, families, husbands, wives, whatever is the case, children, and we're dealing with regular daily problems, and before I'm so sorry, MaryCate, I'm so sorry. I introduced who you are, but we never got an introduction from you. Before we continue, can you give us a little intro who we're talking to?
Sure. I'm MaryCate. I do satirical videos sometimes, and I also do a series on Twitter called Listen to Trans People, where I just read their posts to kind of show people what this is all really about in their own words. So I'm, hunting for, just like you said, regular people who are being honest because they're in spaces where they don't think anyone else is listening. They think they're only talking to each other. And I really focus heavily on the men who do this.
It's so sad that a lot of the men are for me, all pedophiles are the same. Men, women, I don't care. If you're a pedophile or you get caught doing such a thing, there is no excuse. The penalty should be very harsh, very severe. I love the way Donald Trump says it. If you get caught doing a pedophile, the sentence, the third strike, whatever is going to be the death penalty, I'm all for it. It should be from the first get-go. You touch a child, you pay with your life. I bet you no one will touch a child again. You touch a child, you pay with your life, and bet you never touch a child again because you paid it with your life, and that children will be safe, and no one will ever do so. So I'm all for it. My children are watching tonight. What's up, girls? Daddy loves you. Ani, Alster, I love you guys.
And did I
And
hear
you're
you
my
have
life.
2 sets of twin girls?
Yeah, I have 2 sets, Ani and Astrid, and then I have the second set, Anna and Alina. They're 5 and 10. They're gonna be 10. They're 5 and 9, almost 10 in November. I love you, girls. My nieces, Lily, Susie, Anahit. I love you guys. Thank you for watching and supporting. And I do have young audience, my friends' children and my children's school friends who know me and they listen to our show. That's why we keep it as professional, as PG-13 as we possibly can.
Okay.
But it is a Late-Night LOKA podcast, so when we're adults and they should be in bed, you should be in bed, but I'm going to make an excuse on you, Asta, okay? Only tonight, okay? So my thing is very, very, I mean, I got known because of June 2nd, 2023, when they brought this to my school, to my children's school, and my children are, at that time, 4 and 9. And they were trying to read a certain type of book that is the gateway to all this madness, okay? Everything has a gateway. Everything, at one point, we say it's okay, it's normal, it's not a big deal. Let's just accept it, let's tolerate it, let's not pay attention and let them do what they do. And next thing you know, it goes out of hand. And I cannot keep on stressing this enough, is when LGBT community was existing back in the 80s and early 90s when I first got here, we didn't care. They were there. I didn't care. I knew not to go there if I didn't want to see them. If I didn't want to do anything with them, they were there, right? I knew. I didn't care. I just didn't go there, you know, because that was not my crowd. And then we went on accepting, we all straight people voted to let gay people get married. We said, yeah, you know, I don't care. Let them get married. I was like, yeah, I don't care. I do care. It's against my religion and whatnot, everything. But, you know, like, this is not my problem. I have to answer to my God myself. But once we did this, we lost all control. They lost the control. We gave them the power to be, like, whatever, right? Equal or whatever.
It's been hijacked by people who want to take it to these dark places, right? You know, they saw an in, just like, you know, we see with priests and things like that, where, you know, they look for the position of power where they're not going to be questioned, where they have access to children. And so, like, I really believe that this, you know, this movement that, like you said, we don't care, you know, that sounds great. And, you know, I'm very much like you, where, you know, not with that particular issue, but with other things too, where I have my own personal morals that I live by, but I don't necessarily need for that to be law for everyone else to live by. But, you know, when it comes to, you know, you have to ask who wants to be dressing up like, you know, like I'm trying to keep it PG, but, you know, who wants to be dressing up like a drag queen and reading to children? You know, who wants to be reading to children sexualized books, you know? And you have to look at who is that going to benefit, because it's not going to be the kids, you know?
Never the children. You know what? We went and we protested, and it happened to where the event got shut down because of a lot of protesters against it, and a lot of people who were not even part of the protest found out about the protest, and they joined forces. They joined us and say, no, this is not going to happen. And the event got canceled and whatnot. So I went on and tried my best to hire a drag queen to come read to senior citizens.
Right.
I'm still looking.
Really?
I'm still looking. If any one of you out there want to come to read to some grown-up people who are on their deathbeds, they need some entertainment, right? It was an adult entertainment at one point. Come entertain these adults, you know. Why not?
And they don't want to.
Nobody will ever want to, but say, hey, but now the same person that got canceled in San Fernando Valley, the same person put another event not too long ago, I think a couple of days ago, October 6th or 11th, or I don't even know the date, but just recently. And the invitation specifically said, you cannot enter the event if you do not come with a child. I'm like, are you serious?
Yeah.
Like, children are my pass to enter an event?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Seriously,
There's no
think about
point
what,
to that.
and this was normal. And yesterday, Thursday, there was a board meeting in Chino, California, where they're trying to protect, God bless Sonia Shah and everything she's doing. We love you, Sonia. You're the best. You're the GOAT. You're my president of Chino. I love you. Run for president 2028, Sonia Shah. Because she's constantly putting her life and family's life to fight for parental rights and children's innocence. And yesterday we had a person who had a T-shirt in the rainbow colors that said "Hail to Satan," and she's over there contradicting us, saying you're the bad one, you're the dude. You're wearing a "Hail to Satan" T-shirt, and you're coming here educating, telling me keep secrets from parents is the good thing.
Right. Right. Well, and those kinds of things, which they're making into law in a lot of places in the United States, they're at a point where they are taking children away from their parents and putting them into care of the state if the parents don't agree to transition them. It's and then you look at who these kids are, and these are largely very vulnerable kids, autistic kids. They have other comorbidities, or, these are kids who just have, if they were just allowed to be what they are and who they are, they would just likely grow up to be gay or lesbian. So, for them to say that, we who are looking at this with a critical lens are the homophobic ones or the extreme ones seems really hypocritical to me.
Exactly my point. And like I constantly say, like my children when they were 5, my eldest twins, they had always make believe games, like
Yeah.
sometimes they would play like whatever, and there was an incident when every time I took my dog to walk, I have this huge big dog, like huge
Yeah.
Dogo Argentino, if you guys know what that type of dog it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a Dogo Argentino, and he's huge, and he's very protective of my children. So every time I take them to walk, I took my children with me, before my second twins were born. And they mimicked how I used to walk my dog. One would pretend to be me, the other one would pretend to be the dog. Okay, and they would do the vice versa, they would play. So what was I supposed to do? Put them in a cage with my dog and say, hey, you're a dog? Just because they're pretending to be a dog for like 10 minutes? Listen, you can entertain your children's make-believe life like you can entertain them. If they want to be a princess, if they want to be a prince, if they want to be a frog, if they want to be whatever they want to be, you can entertain it just for that time being. But once you keep that going, and that's already child abuse. For all those parents who are allowing their children to act like a cat or a dog.
Right, the Therians, yeah.
That's against that's child abuse. Straight child abuse.
Well, and I think very often it's not even coming from the kids wanting to play pretend or act like this. I feel like we see over and over again, basically, we call it Transhausen by proxy. It's that same disease, that Munchausen's by proxy, where, the parent they feed off of the attention that they get by pretending their child is ill. And I think we see a lot of that in this issue where, you'll see 2 or 3 kids in the same family who are doing this. And, there was a woman recently, Amanda Jete Knox, who, she has a trans kid, a trans husband. She said it's not a social contagion. And then a few months later, she has announced she's starting to take testosterone and changing her name. So, I mean, it absolutely is contagion aspect too.
It's all these things they're doing to children is irreversible. They cannot
Right.
get this back. This is,
And they can't consent to it because
yeah.
they're kids. They don't have any point of reference. They don't know what they're going to be missing. So these doctors who say, oh, well, we go over that they might be sterile or there might be pain, like these kids have no idea what they're getting into.
No, and they're being brainwashed. And seriously, I had a conversation with my oldest twins, both of them, when they were like 8 years old at that time, 8 or 7. I asked them simple questions like, "Can a boy turn into girl?" or what, like questions like that. And these children, honestly, they answered me in a way I never spoke to them about this. I always like, this is not topic for them to speak, have a conversation with me. But I don't know for what reason I even recorded one of them and I even posted it. That hey, look at common sense. 8-year-old has a bigger common sense than most of our politicians.
Yeah.
Most of the people that are pushing this agenda are grown adult men. And
Right.
I can't believe where are all my feminists? Where are all the women?
Oh, we're here. We're yelling into the void, and
Dude, look. I
definitely
was
here.
in a board meeting. A father with another father, we're standing in front of the board and we're screaming, "Keep boys out of," which is one of my topics that I wanted to talk to you. Is a good time to jump into that. Two grown men, father of daughters, are standing there screaming like, "Hey, get men out of women's spaces," and women are being like, "Boo, you guys suck," and I'm like, dude, you really want me in your bathroom with you? I don't think so. I'm married. I don't want to go in the bathroom. As much as you want me there, I don't want you there with my children. Sometimes when I take my children to public bathrooms and it's a woman's bathroom and I know only women are there, I still don't trust it. I still open the door and see who's like, hey, not go inside. I open, hey, is anybody in there? Anybody in there? Like, if there's somebody in there, I don't let my children go in there because I don't know who that woman is.
Right.
I wait until they all come out or whoever it is. If it's empty, then I tell my girls, okay, go in. And I stand guard. Why? Because I'm a father. I love my daughters. I would do anything for my daughters. You don't understand. Like I never kept, but I never kept who I am. I always came clean who I am, my backstory, what roads I have taken to get here, what a difficult life I had, whatever. I'm not going to get into that. I never kept a secret from any one of you guys who I am and where I come from. But that's not the same man sitting here talking and doing this podcast because I have 4 children and I'm pushing 50. And people want to say, are you living your back life? Dude, I'm pushing 50. I don't have time to live the life I used to live when I was 20, It's not the same. But you're telling me I don't love my children the same because I have a history? My history, my back history always catches up to me regardless of what I do, right? Your past always catches up to you. But your future or in the present is who you are today. That's how people see you today. And for me, I'm all like, you can call me whatever you want. I don't care. Keep boys out of girls' spaces, period. And I can't believe women are not joining me on this. I know you are. You just said you are, but just wanting a meet. No, it's rare to have a woman. Because I was
it's rare because either you're not that like you're listening in the wrong spaces, but also there have been women who have been fired from their jobs. There are women who have been taken to court. For using the wrong pronouns. There are women who have been raped, and when they've been in court, they've been instructed to refer to their rapist as she, as a woman, as her. So there are social consequences that are put in place, often for women and not for men, for challenging these things. And I think also, this ideology does a very good job of preying on that caring nature that for a lot of women is there and is very innate. And they come at it with, well, don't you want to be kind? Be kind. Don't you want to be kind? And I think genuinely a lot of people do. They want to be good people, but this is not the time for that. These are not the people that we need to be kind to because they are absolutely, if not cover for, then they are themselves predators trying to get access to women and children.
And it's funny how we were collecting a signature to Protect Kids California Act initiative to put on the ballot for this election. And we walked up to many women. They shut us down. And I was like, dude, I mean, you giving me permission to come in your private space. Is that what you want? They're like, we don't care. I'm like, I mean, seriously, like, what, like, you have to be in that situation to really care. Like something bad has to happen for people to wake up. Like someone really has to get hurt for us to say.
They have been, and so many times you confront these people with the facts of that, and they still act like they don't care. And so what I like to say to these women is, you might be fine with it, but consent requires consensus when it's a public space for all women. And even if a few of us say no, then that's it. That means no, we don't, we're uncomfortable. It's just wrong, flat out wrong, but that should be enough.
I'm all against all this trans stuff. I'm really much against when it comes to children. Once you're adult, I always say, I don't care what you do. I'm not going to answer to God for your mistakes. I'm going to answer to God for mine, right? So I don't really care what you do. But when it's a question of children under the age of 18, I care. That's where I come in, right? So I'm very against all these trans everything. And to have girls, to say to girls, hey, you don't feel comfortable changing in your locker room, go to somewhere else, go to the nurse's office or go to somewhere else. It's like, dude, why not create a special bathroom just for older trans?
Because they don't want it. They've been offered this and they don't want it. If it's not taking women's spaces, it's not good enough for them. Like this has been proposed to them again and again, and again and again. They say they don't want it. They want women's spaces.
When I was a child, I saw this one movie where it was about a school movie, like children movie, like in high school. When the boys in the boys' locker room, they had like one tiny peeping hole, and they were looking at through the girls' locker room side to look at girls changing, and all the boys were standing in line. It was crazy just because they had one tiny millimeter of a tiny hole. It was magical for in the movie, right? And I'm more like, imagine.
All they have to do is say, I feel like a girl today.
Imagine, right?
Yes.
It's like an invitation to have our daughters molested, abused, harassed. Come on, dude. Like,
it is exactly that. Yeah.
You really don't want to get a dad who loves his children, especially his daughters, I'm not going to say what would I do, but I'm going to say, yeah, something very, I'm not going to sit there and be quiet. I'm going to tell you that much. I'm going to have blue and red lights flashing all over, red and white lights flashing all over, because whole hell is going to be broken loose because you touched my angels. The reason that I leave. Why? Because I keep on telling you, don't do this, and you do it and laugh at my face and tell me you don't want your daughter there, have her go somewhere else. Seriously, bro? No, it's not happening. Not on my watch. Not on my watch.
And we need more people saying no. I think if everyone stood up and said, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard of, no, then we wouldn't even, this should not even be on the table. You know what I mean? Like this should not even be a debate that women and girls deserve and need their own spaces. It's so mind-boggling to me how something so simple and socially accepted through all of human history, up until now, has now become controversial because of, like you said, a very small group of men who have basically started a cult to be able to wear their fetish out in public.
But you know what's the sad part? I agree with you 100%, but this is where the catch is. This is where I get mad. Mm-hmm. They could have all the fetish, all the stuff they want. That's none of my concern. But what really bothers me is the day men voted to give women equal rights, right? Men were the only ones to vote, and all men got together and they said, you know what? We're just going to let the women vote and be equal to us, right? Whenever they put it on the ballot. So women.
It was a lot of women campaigning for it. I don't
Yes,
think
yes, but the men were actually the ones.
said, all right.
No, no, no. Listen, the women campaigned. They made the movement, but the men were actually the ones who voted on it, right? Congress was all men. Everybody was all men.
They were the only ones who could. Yeah.
My point is, we gave them that, right? We gave women to be equal in everything with men, right? So why are the women are the ones who are supporting men to be in the women's spaces? Not men. Women are the number one supporting of this. And I'm like, why did I give you the right to be equal to me? And all of a sudden you give me the right to be in your space equal to you as a woman. Like you're back to square one. It's better you stay home because I'm better than you in everything. Because if you want to compete with me in sports, all I have to do is say I'm a woman and I could beat the living crap out of you in the boxing, basketball, volleyball, swimming, running, right? You cannot compete with me. And you're telling me it's okay as a woman to compete with you. So why would you have enough? I mean, we gave you. Listen, when I say we, I mean society, like all of us, men and women together, right? We gave women's basketball, women's Olympics, women's everything. Women have their own category in everything, right? Why would women allow a man to come in their sport, in their space, and compete with them? If that was the case, you should have just stayed where you are and let men compete each other, you know? And those men that want to act like women should have stayed, go back in the kitchen and just chilled in the kitchen with the women and let the real men run the world. So I'm just trying to find out, like, why are women quiet on this subject? It's not a subject for a man to have with another woman, trying to see why. This should have been women going crazy on the streets. Mm-hmm. And they're not.
There are a lot of them who are. There really, really are.
Not in California, sweetheart. Not in California.
Not in California, yeah.
You come to California, try to protect women, you're gonna get arrested. You know, they're gonna say, "Hey, come here, bro."
Right. Well, and that's another reason why women are silent on it, because they have seen the consequences put in place. You know, the women who do speak out on it, you lose friends, you lose jobs, you lose family. You know, you really get ostracized by a huge part of society that, you know, I really think that they have had the wool pulled over their eyes. I think that they have exploited this tendency of women to want to be accommodating, to want to be kind. And I think they've been very, very sneaky about it, where they've said, you know, they've painted this image of themselves as victims, right? Where they're like, oh, we're just so oppressed. We're just these poor, effeminate men, and, you know, these other men beat us up. And, yeah, I mean, they really have tried to make themselves look like these huge victims. And then when you scratch the surface, you realize this is an act. This is an act to gain spaces, to gain women's spaces. And, you know, the fact of it is, the men who treat women like a costume hate women more than men who don't, you know, because they really just see us as these pornified costumes that they can just take for themselves. But the women who support it are very, very frustrating. But, you know, again, there are right now a lot of consequences for women who speak out. You know, we see Kelly J. Keene getting soup thrown on her. We see Sal Grover being taken to court in Australia. I mean, there are tangible consequences for going against these men.
And that's the sad part. I mean, I'm a father of 4 girls. You know, mm-hmm. I love my wife. She's the best thing that ever happened to my life. You know, if you're looking, I love you, honey. I cannot survive. I cannot do nothing without my wife. Mm-hmm. She's everything. She holds the whole family together. If she wants everything to be smooth, it will be smooth. If she wants whatever, you know, like, she's the boss, right? Why? Because she is the household dominance, right? She controls the whole house. Whatever happens outside the house, she doesn't care. How it happens, she doesn't care. If she needs whatever, all she has to do is ask, I need this, and she gets it, right? Why? Because my job as a man is to be outside making the bread. Because me and her, we have an understanding. Like, you take care of the house, I take care of the bills and everything else, right?
Hmm.
This is what my family does. So I'm grateful for her, and I want all the rights that I have, that her have it. And I'm teaching my children that, hey, you're not going to just be quiet and
Right.
be afraid of the consequences. Because, look, I got fired. I lost
Hmm.
my job. I
Yeah.
lost my car. I don't have a car now. I'm hitching a ride from here and there. I'm borrowing a car from a friend, right? I'm nearly about to lose my house, but thank God, God came through, and I have this thing that's working out, and I saved my house. I'm going through it a lot because of this sign right here. This sign, okay? Because of this sign, leave our kids alone. I'm going through it a lot, and I'm not complaining. I'm not trying to get a pat on my back. I'm just saying, dude, I'm with you guys. And for me in California, at least, it's like, where are all the women? Yeah, I do have, like like I mentioned, Bad Moms Media. My girl Nar, Antelope Valley Jess. Alicia from San. I can name a bunch of names. Lucy, one of our heroes. Mama Bear's tough. I mean, but it's not enough. Like, we approach women to get on our team, and they're looking at us like, "Are you crazy?" They're brainwashed because, like you said, they're afraid.
Yeah. Well, and brainwashed for sure. There are some of them who really and truly believe what they are saying. Not all of them are supporting it out of fear, but I do think a large portion of women are, because they're afraid to look the wrong way in our kind of social credit score system here. They don't want to get canceled. But absolutely, they have done a very good job of brainwashing, especially from because they're starting so young, right? They're getting into schools, they're talking to them on video games. It's become absolutely pervasive in all the college campuses, things like that. So they are quite literally being taught to support this.
Um, let's go on. I have another introduction. Give me 1 second. Let me read this out to you. It might create a topic as well. Back in 2023, I got invited to Glendale to be part of this meeting. We called it the Boiler Room. Some of the people I mentioned, some of the mama bears were there. Those of you who were there, you know who I'm talking about. During this boiler room meeting, we I met this person through Bad Moms Media. Shout out to you again, Nar. Um, Education Opportunity Act, CEO, California Education Opportunity Act. Okay. Um, for those of you who are listening, please, please, please go to the website, sign up, or call this number. The website is educationopportunity.org, and the phone number is 323-417-4644. We are trying to get this initiative on the ballot for 2026. We're bringing awareness, and by you going to the website or calling this number ensures you are going to sign the petition. And once the petition is available to be signed, we will contact you and let you know that the petition is available for you to sign. And you could go on the website or call again, and we will make sure you get the petition to sign. It's very important. What this does is gives parents the choice where their children should go to school, whether that's public, private, homeschool, or charter. The government pays you $17,000 or $19,000. You get to choose where to use this money. Uh, I think it's the first 8 years of the school is cheaper than the last 4 years. So the
Mhm.
first years they charge you like 7 or 9,000 a year, and then they charge you 4 years for 12,000. and the money that you don't use out of the 17,000 that the government gives you monthly, it goes back paid to your child's name. So when they graduate, they have about $87,000 in their name. They could use in college, university, or whatever. They could pay for their education, further education. You cannot touch this money. You cannot get this money out. You cannot transfer this money. You cannot give it to your parents. You cannot do nothing with this money other than pay for your future education, and it will expire when you expire.
Okay.
It's for life.
Wow.
So we need to bring awareness for people to, excuse me. So for all those people who are homeschooling, they could be the principal and the teacher of their children. They could get $17,000 a year from the government to homeschool their child, and that money, whatever they spend. The rest will stay under their children's name for life. And let's say you're 45 and you want to go to school and you have to pay for it. Guess what? You have money in your name.
Right.
You can use it. So this is very important. So please, people, call this number 323-417-4644 or go to educationopportunity.org. Okay, shout out to NAR Bad Moms Media for putting me up on this topic. So what do you think about this? It's like kids' choice or school choice or something?
Yeah, no, that's really interesting. And then where does the funding for that come from?
Just the same place where it comes to go to the public schools. So listen, a year we pay public schools $25,000 per child per year.
Mm-hmm.
The government already pays this money to public schools, right? So we're telling the government, listen, you're paying the public school this much, pay me $17,000. Save yourself like what, 5,000-6,000, right? And I can't touch this money.
Mm-hmm.
This money is strictly for education for the children, for that particular children. I can't pass it to my sibling.
Right.
I could only use it.
It's education, yeah.
You know, you come out of high school, you don't want to go to college for 5 years, you know, you want to mess around, whatever, and then you realize, oh, I'm wasting my life. Let me go to school. Guess what? You have 87,000 to back it up and go back to any college, university, or whatever, you know, because you got 87 or whatever amount, and it collects interest as you don't use it. Every year it collects interest, so that 87 can become some other number, higher number in the future. As much as you don't use it, it collects interest. So it's I don't know. I'm not expert on this topic. But if you go to the website, educationopportunity.org, you will get all the answers to your questions. If you call this number, 323-417-4644, you don't even have to say hi. You could call and hang up. The automated system will call you back or text you with a message to a page link where you could click and get all the information on 5-step information, how it starts and da-da-da-da, right? And not getting into that, but I think this is a very good something for at least Californians to look forward in 2026.
I hope it's on the ballot.
MaryCate, hot topic question for you. Are you ready?
Okay. I'm ready.
Trump or Kamala? Man or woman? Trump or Kamala? Man or woman? Who are you going to vote for?
Oh, I'm not voting for Kamala Harris.
That's right. I love it. Trump 2024, baby.
Yeah, probably.
You know, I was in Coachella last Saturday. Was the best time of my life. I never been to any presidential rally, and to go to a Trump rally and to have a turnout like that, it was like amazing. I was about 20 feet away from Trump, and it was amazing. So what do you have to say to your fellow Americans when it comes time to vote for Kamala or Trump? Like, what's your message to not only American, but to women and women of color?
Right. Yeah. And, you know, my politics, I tend to look at each issue through the view of how is this going to affect women? I think that, Donald Trump has definitely made some comments that turn a lot of women off, turn them away from voting for him. But I think my message would be we survived 4 years. And for me, it's what is step one, and I think that right now you can't protect women in law unless you can define woman in a law, because you can't protect what you can't define. And so, what I'm going to say to them is, I don't really care if you like him or not. What is step one for protecting women? And that's going to be defining women and, really getting the administration out that thinks that woman is a label that can apply to both men and women. Get rid of the administration that is trying to decimate Title IX. I'm not going to vote for a candidate who brags about the free plastic surgeries, quote unquote free, that our tax dollars are paying for convicted killers and rapists who are sent to women's prisons to receive, and she brags about this. And so that's absolutely not going to be an administration or a party or a candidate that I support this election.
I love it the way you put that down. I love it. Like this has to go viral. Help us get this viral. In order to protect women, you heard it here live at Local Late Night Podcast. You have to first identify what's a woman to protect it. And we are so confused that what's a woman? I mean, I know what's a woman. My 8-year-old, now going to be 10, knows what's a woman, right? But unfortunately, a lot of Americans, adult Americans, don't know what's a woman. And that's the sad part. And you're right. She brags about the inmate surgeries like crazy. Like, it's seriously.
I think it's California who has not yet denied a transfer request from a man who says he feels like a woman to be transferred into a woman's prison, no matter how heinous the crime is.
Yeah, we support that all the way. That's our number one thing. That's why I'm wearing these hats. Because I support that 100%. It's crazy. Listen, I never was a good boy. I was always in trouble. I migrated here from Soviet Common. Oh, by the way, I'm sorry. Let me jump off the topic. Hey, Tiber Nugs, you have very skillful fingers. You could type very fast and write a lot of words and stuff. But I gotta tell you, I'm against Antifa. Screw Antifa in the somewhere where the sign never sees. Okay, Antifa could go to hell. You asked me why is fascism, anti-fascism so bad? Well, you're talking to someone who comes from a communist country, bro. Seriously, I escaped communism to come to this great country to be free and to have a podcast and talk to someone in Florida, right? Mm-hmm. This is the freedom I have. An Armenian talking to, where are you from? What are you Hispanic? What?
Oh, no, I'm half Persian, half English.
Oh, my God, you half Persian?
Yeah.
Welcome. We're neighbors. We're neighbors.
Yeah.
but still.
Yeah, and what is more fascist than, telling people how they can speak and how they can, think and, how like with the pronouns thing, you're not telling people how to address you. They're telling you how you better talk about them when they're not even in the room. I mean, we are watching the death of free speech all over the world. And I do fear that that's going to be coming here very, very soon.
It will. Once it passes California, it's coming straight to Florida. It's coast to coast. They got to attack the coastal lines where the population is, where all the parties are, and bring it to Mid-City. So all those people in the middle of United States thinking, oh, this is not going to come to us. Guess what? A lot of people tell me, listen, we had a conversation just not long ago. Why do you stay in California? It's so ridiculous. Gas prices, taxes, and everything. Why do you public school your children? They're brainwashing. They're doing this and that. I tell them like this: listen, you left California, right? You didn't want to stay and fight. That's cool. I'm not against it. I'm thinking about the same. You took your children out of school. You don't want to take a chance, whatever. Also, I'm okay. I'm thinking about the same too. But why I haven't done it is number one, maybe I can't afford it. Maybe I
Hmm.
don't. I need to go work and make sure, even if they go to public school, at least they could be fed and have a clothes on their back and the rent is paid. Maybe the move to another state is too much to bear where I might not even make it, like, but maybe because I don't want to be the one who gives up. Maybe I want to be
Right.
the one who says, you know what? Bring it, bro. Bring
Right.
it, bro.
Because if
I'm all
everyone,
here to
yeah,
fight for my children, for
right.
my parental rights, for the innocence of my, and for the red, white, and blue, for the
Yeah.
American flag, right? And
Yeah.
if I'm wrong for doing that, I wish a lot of my Californians joined me on this battle.
Right.
But like you said, they're
Because, if
afraid.
everyone who's willing to fight leaves, then there's no one there who's going to fight it. And I'm with you all the way, where the grass is greener where you water it, right? Like, we're not
Amen.
going to run away from this because it is creeping in from every aspect, just about every aspect of society. And, we've seen what's happening in Canada, we've seen what's happening in the United Kingdom, and California. And like you said, yeah, Florida's not going to be, far behind, although we've been pretty lucky so far with this particular issue, with the government stepping in. But, you know, if there is if there is an administration change, that fight is going to be right there again.
I've been to many board meetings and city council meetings, not only in
Mhm.
my district, but outside of my district, outside of my county, I haven't left outside of, I got an invitation to go to Nevada, Hammerlock Rock and Roll. I love you, Liz and Travis, for going from Sacramento to Nevada to speak in behalf of their granddaughter, who was made to be changing in a girl's locker room with a boy. Hey, you know what they told her? You're not
Yeah.
comfortable. Go to the nurse's office. Seriously?
Yeah.
No, no. This is wrong. Okay, so what I'm saying is, I go to all these places and I heard a lot of comments that public comments they make, and I listen to both sides, right? And
Mhm.
one on the opposite side, they said, hey, if you are very involved with your children, you should know everything about your children and you shouldn't worry about secrets being kept from parents or not, right? Listen, I took that very serious to my heart, and I said I'm gonna be very, very, very involved with my children. They're
Mhm.
right, but then I realized not every parent has that opportunity because they're so busy to make sure that child is fed. That child
Mhm.
has a clothes on their back. They don't
Yeah.
have the time yet, barely come home for dinner, and they have to put them to
Mhm.
sleep and get the next day going.
Yep.
They don't, you don't, come down, Manuk. We
Yeah.
send our
Well,
children to
it's
school.
not a given, right? It's not a given that, every parent is going to be able to be in as involved as they would like to be, like you said, because, they're trying to make sure their children are provided for. But like even further than that, these are things that, these children will, they call it rapid onset gender dysphoria, where it's just their friend did it. And so now they want to as well. Or they read a book about it. And so now they want to as well. Or they've fallen in with a group online, and they're, or and puberty is not comfortable, right? Like, nobody enjoys it. Nobody's like, oh, I feel so great. Everyone has a tough time. And so this is where they're preying on these kids, and they're going, oh, you're uncomfortable with your body. Well, we have this thing that'll fix it. All you need to do is, get on these blockers and hormones, and maybe get a double mastectomy, or turn your penis inside out, and you'll feel so much better. And it's just a bid for money. for these clinics, for these surgeons. And, I think more than that, it's being pushed by these men who are, they sexually enjoy cross-dressing, and they need it to be okay for kids, so that society makes it okay for them too.
Yesterday on Red Angeles, we had Red Angeles hosts many podcasts. Okay, and one of the podcasts they had on last night was 180 Shift Girls. They had two guests. Don't ask me what their name was. I forgot. I'm sorry. I wasn't taking notes. But one of the guests was a Marine who was who started being a Marine in 2019 or 20, I believe. Got deployed in 2021. And in 2022, she came back and she started her life. And from a far left liberal, she became a progressive, conservative. I mean, not progressive, conservative Republican. And she has a whole story. And some of her stories had to do with overseas. And the things that's happening overseas. And the way she was saying it. Was like you could see it that there is something wrong, that something's happening, but they are not telling us. She was trying to say some stuff, but not really saying it. Like and it's because, yeah, I know she's trying to keep the military and the oath and all these. There's some stuff you can say and not say, but at the same time. This what we're talking about is abroad. Is abroad, and it's big time, major $1 million of industry that we're trying to find. P. Diddy and Epstein, they're nothing. Right. They're just angels to what's really the head of the whole thing. Excuse me. It's very sad that we as society. Don't realize that, hey, it's very near to our house and we need to be awake and we need to address this because it's nothing but a sex fetish.
Right.
It's nothing but a sex fetish and it's nothing but a trend. Like you say, when I was a child and they told me you can't do this without an explanation and reasonable doubt, I was like, that's the first thing I'm gonna do. So I never tell my children you can't do this or you can't do that. I always educate them on what it is they want to do and the consequences and all that follows with it. And I give them the choice to choose. Yeah, they're children. I'm not going to have them have ice cream for breakfast, lunch, and my way, my law, my family. I don't come to your house and tell you how to raise your children, right? Maybe you're raising them the same way as I am. Maybe not. If I'm not doing it to you, why do you think that you are so better that you have to implement your ways onto my family and my beliefs? And when I speak against it, I'm a bigot. I'm an extremist.
No, the pushing to be able to keep secrets from the parents, the push to, if your parents don't let you do whatever you want, then you should get taken away from them. I mean, again, you have to ask, who does this benefit? It is a clear bid for access to these children. But I think it's really important, because they are always talking to our kids about these things. And, my kids are in public school as well. I've got 2 daughters. I think it's really important for us to be talking to our kids about reality and, teaching them to avoid this kind of thing and teaching them critical thought so that they don't end up like those women who are, rabidly supporting decimating their own rights and their own spaces, because they are in the schools They are in the colleges. They are in their games. They're on Roblox. They're, I mean, you can't walk into a coffee shop or an ice cream shop without the giant progress flag flying there. You know what I mean? It's everywhere. So I don't think that you're going to be able to, keep them from it forever. So what I have done is I have been proactive in teaching my daughters, there's nothing wrong with, if you want to have short hair, let's do it. If you don't want to wear a dress, that's totally fine with me. But that doesn't mean that you are something other than a girl. It doesn't mean that your body needs to be medically corrected and changed. And, I've told them, because they're right about at that age, one going through puberty, one about to start. I've got a preteen and a teen, and walking them through this every step of the way, because, that's like you said, you can't have ice cream for breakfast, because that's your job as a parent, is to protect them and to educate them. But I do think that with this particular insidious ideology, it's very important to be almost vaccinating your kids against it, right? With, giving them the tools for critical thinking, because they are not getting that in the public schools right now. Even in the red states, they're not getting that.
I hate to mention this and I hate to admit this. In 2023, June 2nd, prior to this, I did not care.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't care. I didn't care if you want to read books to the children. I didn't care if you want to dance for the I didn't care, because I thought it was all just TikTok and Instagram, people just creating content. I didn't care.
Right.
So when it came to our school and I started getting involved and I started caring, I'm like, wait a minute.
Right.
Wait a minute.
What is happening here? Yeah.
Seriously, this is reality.
Yeah,
this is coming
reality.
to my house, and they're attacking the children only, and only the children. And they started at high school. They realized it's too late. These children are already set their mind on how they're going to go about. They went to middle school, and they realized most of the children also are through the puberty phases, and they know what's going on. We got to go to the elementary. They went to the elementary. They said, listen, forget the elementary. Let's go to kindergarten. My children were 4 years old in kindergarten when they wanted to read these books to my children. 4 years old. They don't even know the right from the left.
Right. Yeah. They can't even spell yet.
They tell me, Papa, this shoot this foot or this shoot this foot. Papa has to tell them, that's the right, that's the left. Okay?
Right.
But you want to read them this content? And I'm the bad guy? When you have someone saying hail to Satan?
It is meant to prime them into a state of confusion where they are just going to accept whatever is told to them. It is meant to rob them of their critical thought.
It's brainwashing. It's sexualizing. It's intimidation. It's everything. And I say it many times. You could call me whatever you want. You could brand me whatever you want. It doesn't matter. Just leave my children alone.
Yep.
You say Manuk is a bigot? Okay, Manuk is a bigot.
Right.
You say I'm a homophobe? I'm the biggest homophobe. I'm a transphobe. I'm a phobe. I have a phobia on everything you want to say. Okay, just leave my children, not my children. Leave all children alone.
Yeah.
Bottom line.
Yeah.
When we were having the protest, the principal came up to me and said, we don't need the publicity, we don't need this, we don't need that. Let's just, let's whatever you want. Let's just get. I said, listen, we could stop this. This was the day before the protest. I said, we can stop this with a click of the finger. You tell me, I'll stop it right now. She said, what do we need to do? I said, don't read that book to our children. She said, I can't do that. I said, well, guess what? We're coming tomorrow. We're coming deep. We're coming loud. We're bringing the whole shebang. We're
Yeah.
not going to be quiet. And I have not stayed quiet ever since. They
Hmm.
throw at me bunch of stuff. Manuk is this guy. Manuk is that guy. Manuk is involved. Listen, I came out and I told my life story to everybody before I met you. Everybody knows who I am. Everybody knows the life story. Everybody knows I was using. I went inside. I did everything. But
Hmm.
that was until 2002. Since 2002 until today, that's 22 years, I've been the man that I am today.
Hmm.
So because you want to judge me for what I did in my past, 22 years past,
Hmm.
hey, guess what? What's up? Where you at?
Yeah.
Leave my kids
Well,
alone.
and I think people like you and people like me who have a history, that's why we're okay with being so vocal about it, because it's like, well, what else? What are you going to throw at me? What are you going to throw at me that's worse than something that, I've already been through? So I really, I appreciate people who have been put through the ringer, because we just don't care. I put literally Hitler in my bio because I got called literally Hitler so many times. I did the same thing. I'm like, all right, let's make some badges. Let's make some stickers. Fine. You want to call me? I'll be literally Hitler. Because I don't think that men are women.
My boy loving you right there. My boy right there loving you. Because he also thinks that boys are boys, women are women, girls are girls. Bottom line.
Yeah.
And if you want to call me a supremacist, a Hitler, a Nazi, whatever you want, they call me a Christian nationalist.
Yeah.
This is what I have to tell them.
Hmm.
Yes, I am a Christian. Yes, I have nationality.
Hmm.
My nationality is Armenian and I'm Christian. So am I a Christian nationalist? Maybe because I have a nationality and I'm
Hmm.
Christian. But what is a Christian nationalist? Like someone who believes in Christ and has a nationality? Like you could be Latin and believe in Christ and you're a Christian nationalist? Like seriously? And it's okay to go to a board meeting, a city council meeting, and go like this and say hail to Satan? That's okay.
Hmm.
But praising God and saying, we accept you as you are, we
Hmm.
love you as you are. Don't change nothing. We accept you. We embrace you. We love you.
Now
Oh,
you're a
you're a
bigot.
very bad person because, So I don't get it. I don't get what they want from us. I really don't get it.
They want complete submission, and they want to be able to sell these things to as many people as possible. And they want that to be a window, I think, into selling us more things, because this is so largely pushed by the funders of the DSM-5. It's pushed by big pharma money and beyond. So I think that what they want is to be able to cancel and silence anyone who disagrees.
Um, and I am known to disagree with a lot of the things that gets me canceled.
Hmm.
I get canceled every other week. I
Yeah.
have some kind of controversial video every other week. I can never do the right thing and I can never say the right thing.
Yeah,
I,
that's the internet too.
I'm not going to compare myself to nobody, but what Jesus Christ, that's my God, my Savior, what he went through and what he's going through to the present day is no comparison to what we go through. I have done, I'm talking about a particular day. I have done 10 to 20 extreme good things in that day.
Mhm.
But I made one controversial mistake.
Mm.
Everybody ignored the fact that I did 20 other great things that day to represent, to honor, to present. But I said something and it caught up with me.
Mhm.
And everybody jumped on me. Not only against people, my own people were like, hey, you shouldn't have said that, da, da, da. Yeah, I got you. But how bad is it for being Jesus Christ? You have glory all your life. You are blessed. One misfortune happens to you, you blame God and you say curse to him and you doubt him, but you forget that this same God gave you life, gave you parents, gave you siblings, gave you like done a lot of things for you. But one unfortunate incident and you jump on his face. Why, God? Why? I don't like you. I don't trust you. Dude, I got it. And I was like, dear Lord, even at the worst time, I thank you. Why? Because I'm alive to feel this
Right.
pain. I'm alive to say, ouch,
Yeah.
help me. So, again, don't ever make a mistake, because if you make a mistake, people are going to jump in your face and forget about all the greatness that you are accomplishing. And that's because we have such a thing called Antifa, and they like to dox people and get them fired like I already have. But guess what? I'm working for my own self. I am doing
Right.
my own thing. You can't dox me. You can't do nothing no more to me.
Right. Yeah.
So they're making us stronger, right?
Yeah.
Look at
I
the
mean,
connection
really.
we made. Have you ever thought you would ever talk to someone in California at this time of night and like
No, definitely not. And I'm enjoying talking to so many different kinds of people. I had a space recently where I, went out of my way to try to find like you're doing, normal people with different backgrounds, all different races, sexualities, socioeconomic backgrounds, and just talking about one issue in particular and why we all agree on it. And like that's been in the last few years of my life since I've been, getting more active into this. That's been a huge thing for me, is realizing we're not going to get anything done unless we try to bridge some of these divides. And I feel like I have turned out better for it, because I definitely have been that person who, has, you know, had really negative feelings about a whole group in general. And like, I am happy to have had my mind changed. I am very happy to have, taken some deep breaths and said, okay, I'm going to listen to this person who's, part of a group that I don't generally agree with, but we agree on so much more than I would have thought. So I do encourage people to do that.
I was a lifelong Democrat. I even, when Trump
Yeah.
was running first time, I voted for Clinton, Hillary.
hmm
My boy probably hating it right now because I vote for a woman president, but I vote for her, right? Because I thought she was the right answer. Not
hmm
until Trump came to office. Right then and there, I realized, oh my God, what a mistake I'm making. But it really hit me hard when Biden won.
Yeah.
And pandemic, everything, and then 2023 with all these things that was happening, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I was a Democrat all this time. But back then, Democrats weren't such a bad people, you
Right.
know?
And I think that's like a very common refrain that I hear when I talk to people about this is, they say, I haven't moved, but the left has left me, because they have kept going
Exactly.
further and further and further. And, these things, like with gay marriage, I think, we all got to a point where we were like, that's great. And then this new crop of people, this, TQ plus, and nobody wants to say what the plus means. I think we all know what it does mean, but they have really latched on, and the left has just kept going further and further and further. And they don't realize how many people they are making to feel politically homeless. Kara Dansky, who was also a lifelong Democrat, she recently wrote a book. And the book was called "The Reckoning: How the Democrats Have Failed Women and Girls." I mean, there are people waking up to this all over and going, "Well, what do I do now?" And
Switch sides.
that's again, where I tell them, okay, well, you don't have to
Switch
like
sides.
everything to go, what is step one? We can get step one and then we can take step two from there. Um,
Yes, switch sides. Switch sides. You know, um, it's lifelong history is hard to forget. But once you wake up and once you realize that, hey, you need to be on the right side of the story, right side of the history,
mhm.
then you realize, hey, you know, um, when I first came to America, our governor was a Democrat and he was like a conservative Democrat. So all the Armenian people became Democrats automatically, because we have an Armenian governor,
Mm,
and he was a Democrat, but he was a Republican type of Democrat. He
mhm,
got rid of prostitution and all this stuff in the '84, the Olympics. He made a big name for himself, and he was praised upon because even the Republicans and the Democrats voted for him. He was the
mhm.
greatest governor ever. George Dukmajian, that was his name. Um, After him, now I have a lot of Armenian elderly are still in the mindset, baby boomers, who think that okay, we've been a Democrat, we're never going to change. They just don't know what's happening because they are away from social media, right?
Right.
Um,
And their kids aren't in school, so they're not seeing the things that come home every day, or the assemblies like your kids were going to.
yeah, exactly. So it's kind of sad, and it's in the not only in the Armenian community but in the Latino community, and for all
Mhm.
those my old Armenian fam, I love you guys. Ձեր ցավը տանեմ։ Ընտրեք Թրոմփին, եթե ուզում եք մեր երեխեքի ապագան պայծառ լինի։ Vote for Donald Trump if you want the future of our children to be bright. To all my Armenian community and Armenian family members, vote for Trump. We're coming near to the end of our show. I love you for coming on at this time. I know it's 1:16 in Florida right now, and I'm like, yeah, I'm the tough guy, but no, thank you so much. I appreciate, I honor you, I respect you and everything that you do. Um, Before we go on, I want to comment on before I give you your final words.
Mhm.
There's this one follower who follows me everywhere I go, and he's not on our side. He's on the other side. Hey,
Mhm.
Tiber Knox, this message is for you, bro. Listen, I am more smarter than you, and I'm more educated than you. If you don't believe me and you don't trust me, I gave you the opportunity to come to my show and debate me. You refused. You said, I'm too busy, my wee wee hurts, and I can't make it. Okay, well, you never doxed us, you never did nothing to us, but you're not saying, hey, I'm against grooming of children, so you are a groomer. I
Mm.
don't care how many good points and solid book reading, educational scriptures you remember. You can quote me and corner me and whatnot. The second you say, I'm not with leave our kids alone, even though I'm gay or whatever, anti fascist or whatever you are, then you are a groomer. Whoever is not with this flag, leave our kids alone, I don't know which hand to point. But leave our kids alone. If you're not with the flag, leave our kids alone. If you're not with the flag, red, white, and blue, then you're a predator, you're a pedophile, you're a ISIS, you're this and that, and you need to go. If you don't like either one of the flags hanging on my right or left, American flag or leave our kids alone flag, then you are the domestic terrorist or the foreign terrorist. Okay? Bottom line, you're trying to pedophile my children, you're trying to destroy my country, and you're trying to destroy my family. You got to go. Mary Kate, we are almost at the end of our show. I appreciate you. Thank you 100,000 times for joining us. I had the best conversation. We should have you back on our show again. Please, whatever you feel like to tell our audience, you got the show. You got the floor.
I would say to anyone listening, please speak up because, there are not enough people saying no. That's really, I think, all it's going to take is enough people saying no. So please be brave. Please be a little bit braver. If you believe in in what you are saying, say it with your chest, and I think it's hardest sometimes to confront the people who you're close to. You may not want to fall out with them, but I think that's when it's most important, because this is our future at stake. These are our kids' lives at stake. This is our culture at stake. And if everyone just is silent and they expect the few people who are brave enough to change it, then you are wrong. We need as many voices in this as possible. We're fighting huge numbers, in this industry. And nothing's going to change unless you get braver.
Amen. I couldn't have said it better than myself. I could just add, I'm not going to say too much. I could just add, just say register to vote, number one.
Yeah.
To those people who say my vote doesn't count, yes, it will not count if you do not vote. If you vote, they're going to count it. They're going to say 554, 556, 557. They're going to count it because you voted. If you do not vote, it won't count and it will not matter. Second, communicate with your children and with your parents. Please make sure you get the communication. Yeah, we took out the belt out of our families. We don't spank our children, which is good. I'm not saying nothing. There's no bullying in our school, which is good. I'm not saying nothing, although I have my opinion on these subjects. But since we don't have no bullying and spanking in our families, right, the number one thing we could do is communicate, constantly be involved with your children, day and night. Say you love them. Say to your children they're beautiful. If you have daughters, say to your sons they're strong and they're men and they're supposed to be a man. And your daughters, they're supposed to be women, strong women. Educate them. Be part of your children's life. Don't blame others for your misbehaviors, misguidance, being part of your children's life.
And keep them off the internet.
Keep them off the internet, definitely. And if they are on the internet, be on top of on what they're watching, because some of the schoolwork the public schools are pushing is with the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Class Dojo, Schoology, homeworks, everything, 7 dots, and decoding is all internet and computers. But be vigilant and be on top of what your children are watching, what your children are reading online. Just be constantly involved. I'm on the ELAC, I'm on the ELAC, I'm on the CSSA, I'm on the delegate of my school, I'm a ambassador of my school. I'm doing all this, and the school still, I'm the number one go-to parent when it comes to volunteer in my school. But still, the school district says I'm the worst thing for my children. Imagine, the whole school system trusts me with everything, except when it comes to my children. They trust me with 500 different children, but my children I'm a danger to. It doesn't make sense. So what I could tell you, it's going to be very majestic and godly to win the system. Until that day comes, be vigilant and involved with your children, and be constantly involved and tell your children you love them and what's real and what's fake. MaryCate, thank you. God bless you and your family. Thank you for joining us at this time of the night and honoring. And I love you for doing so. Keep on fighting. Keep on doing what you're doing. I with you. All hats off to you.
Thank you so much for having me. Yeah.
All hats off to you. I don't want you to see my gray hair, but.
Yeah. No, this was lovely, and I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to speak and help spread a message, and this was wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. On a personal note, right before we go off, did the hurricane do anything, any damage, any harm?
I got really lucky. It moved, and we were out of the main cone of destruction by the time that it hit. I have a lot of family over in the area where they got hit directly, and everyone is safe. There's some damage to some homes. They really only just got power back within the last couple of days. But no, very, very lucky all around.
And one more question. How's the Floridian governor and the Floridian government, like the local government, handling all this? Are they on top of it?
So again, I'm not in that main area of things. I know that they had a lot of people right on deck before the hurricane even hit. I know Tampa Electric has been working really hard, Florida Power and Light, to get power back to everybody. And I haven't heard the horror stories here that I have heard from like North Carolina, West Virginia area. So
Okay.
I think also Florida,
Should I
we
move
deal
to
with
Florida
these
or
all
what?
the time.
Should I move to Florida or what?
No, no, you got to keep fighting the good fight where you're
I
at.
love it. I love
You
your
gotta do
answer.
it.
Ara, you
Yeah,
should come back to my show again. I swear to God, you
yeah.
should come back. You're saying everything I want you to say. It's like you have a script I never sent you, you know?
I think we're just on the same page. Yeah.
Amen. Amen. Thank you for joining us. Right before
Thank
we
you.
go out, I'm going to give my shout outs to Mom and Dad Army for putting the candle vigilance on the October 23rd all around the state and United States. I'm going to be in Pasadena by the City Hall on October 23rd from 7 to 9. Shout outs to Bad Moms Media. Red Angeles, if you're not following, please follow. Street credit goes to Antelope Valley Education for Family Value. Jess Enos, my girl, San Fernando Family Value Alliance. I love you, Alicia, and Bushido Tribe. My boy Oscar, I love you, my boy. If you have not been following us, please follow us on Red Angeles, RED, capital R, Angeles, like Los Angeles, but Angeles with the capital A. Follow us, and also on my personal YouTube, Loka, LOKA, all capital letters, 818. And of course, on my Instagram, Manuk_Loka. My guest was MaryCate from Florida, who has made it through Hurricane Milton and stayed up all this night to have this podcast with me. Thank you so much. God bless you. God bless your family. And be safe, be well. And
Yeah.
Trump 2024, baby. If you're not with it, you're against it.
All right. Have a good
Thank
night.
you. Thank you. Have a good night.